Welcome, Sophia. Thank you so much for being here with me, sitting with me for the second interview, 9 years after our first one.
Thank you, Danuta.
It's so good to be with a kindred spirit. You
It's,
know, in your presence, the world seems a little brighter.
oh,
People who already know you will agree with me, and those who will meet you for the first time will soon come to realize that.
Danuta, it's truly such a joy to be together again. You're right, after 9 years, our first interview, December 2015,
Yes.
for the Observatorio
Yeah.
newspaper.
Coffee with Sophia Barna.
And now we have the second coffee 9 years later. And it's truly such a joy to be together, to be in each other's presence. And the topic that you chose for our discussion today is a wonderful one, and I can't wait to
Yes, it is.
flow in that
Since
direction.
we last saw each other, you continued your work as a mental health clinician in Toronto, and you wrote a book. Congratulations! I'd like to show it. The Simple Way: A Graceful Path to Success. This is a very, very candid book, and you write here. You wrote it with radical self-honesty, and it shows us practical tools for removing the emotional and mental clutter that deviates us from our path. This is the book. Congratulations again, Sophia.
Thank you so much, Danuta. And yeah, that seems like a long time ago too. So we had our first interview in 2015, and this one, the launching of my first book was in 2018. So it's been a while as well.
Since then, yeah.
But it still feels like, in a way, like my first baby book. It's special. The first one is always very special.
Yes, of course. I know the second one is coming. Your expertise is in peak performance, happiness, and spirituality. I'm all for focusing on what's right with people rather than what's wrong. And positive psychology helps us understand and nurture what helps us thrive and flourish. This is why I chose this topic for today. You are an expert in this. In our fast paced and overly stimulating and very stressful lives, finding moments of happiness and maintaining a positive outlook can sometimes feel like the biggest challenge. It's true, right?
It's true.
However, exploring the concepts of happiness and positivity can provide us with very valuable tools to enhance our well being. If you ask most people what would bring them happiness, they would say money. More money, lots of money, loads of money. Everybody knows the saying, money doesn't bring happiness. To which I heard the reply, no, it doesn't, but I prefer to cry in a mansion. People are seduced by money. Income brings happiness, but apparently more and more income doesn't bring more and more happiness. What is your take on that?
Between money and happiness.
Money and happiness.
Okay, so yeah, just a little bit backtracking about happiness in general. So I have to say that initially when you suggested this topic, I was a bit like happiness, a bit uncertain because to me happiness is not it's not a point in itself. It's not the point, just like money, it's not the point. It's not, but it's rather a consequence, right? So both happiness and money, and then the other things are not. Sometimes when we chase them, thinking that's the ultimate thing, we might feel trapped like a dog chasing its tails and never quite getting it. And then we are frustrated and we are dissatisfied and we are displeased that we don't seem to get what we are working so hard to get, what we are striving for, what we kept chasing, right? So happiness to me is again, it's a consequence. And you mentioned earlier, I loved your wording when you said making that switch from constantly seeing what I want, what I'm chasing, what is it that I need to get, to seeing what's actually right. What's right with people, what's right with us, and ultimately what's right with life. Right? We are evolutionary, we are really conditioned into looking for what's not right, for what's wrong, and if nothing is really wrong, what could be wrong, what might be wrong, what is it that I really have to be on guard constantly in order to get it, to fix it, to prevent it, so there is this constant state where very rarely we actually get a chance to feel in this chasing and alertness and getting mode that I'm all right, that everything is all right at this moment, right now, everything is just right. And this is where happiness as a consequence comes in. When we stop running, when we stop chasing, when we stop seeking, when we stop this constant pattern of never quite enough. I'm not enough. I'm not what I'm supposed to be. I don't have enough money, enough credentials, enough happiness, enough. The never enough, it's actually the opposite of happiness, and that actually very interesting, powerful studies. The former president of the American Psychological Association, Martin Seligman, he dedicated over 40 years of his life studying happiness. He really wanted to know, like, what is it with these happy folks that makes them feel so satisfied with life? Make what is it? What they are doing? What are the ingredients? And he did some very powerful longitudinal studies, so over the years, to see what is it for happy people that makes them happy. So the number one ingredient, the top factor on the happiness list, is gratitude. So gratitude, it's exactly the state, the attitude, the approach, the mental pattern of seeking constantly what is right versus what's not right and needs to be more, needs to be different, needs to be something else. And again, we are very much trained, our brain naturally functions with so much training on what's wrong, it's a survival thing, right? But in this way, and it's automatic. We are not even awake in that pattern.
We seem to be wired for
We
not
are.
enoughness.
Exactly. You said it so right. So then we need to kind of cancel this wiring and create a new pathway, a new highway in our brain. And we know in the brain plasticity that this is literally physically happening when we persist in repetition is the mother of learning, right? So when we persist in learning and practicing a certain way, that's what soon enough becomes our second nature. So looking for what's right and appreciating. I love recently. I wrote this. I wrote this little quote about what's the secret of having joy in life, and the secret is to be easily pleased. When we are easily pleased, like a child that is so excited about everything and everything, it's unexpected and it's received as a positive surprise and it's fully received. Right? Like, oh wow, look at the star, look at this flower, look at this toy. So to learn to be pleased most of the time rather than displeased, right? And this is the displeasing. I would say it's a chronic condition in a way. We think that if we are hard to please, somehow, I don't know, we are more important somehow, or we are harder to get, and then but in this way, we play a game with others, with ourselves, with life. We play a game where life, we don't give it a chance to please us because we are harder and harder and harder to be pleased. And then what we are, instead, we are displeased. Nothing pleases us, nothing gets enough, nothing. And now I will move to the second part, money and happiness. So money, it's also, it's a conversion. It's a tool. It's a conversion tool. Money in itself, it's nothing. It's a piece of paper or a piece of metal, right? Like it doesn't mean anything. If we have leftover money from a country that we traveled, we went to Cuba and we have leftover Cuban money. They
It
don't mean
means
anything.
nothing.
It's like, oh, what do I do this now? Do I still store them? They mean nothing. I can't do anything with them, right? So then we realized, oh, well, what's the value of money actually, right? So the value of money is what we invest in that paper or in that bank account. And it's like, what can I do with this? Right? And this is another part, they're so related because the biggest antidote, if you want, for happiness, if we need an antidote for happiness, is it's not only the displeased attitude or the seeking attitude, but is is the conditioning. We condition everything to what we want.
It's the expectation.
Is the expectation. So in order for me to be happy, I need more money. I need more health. I need more toys. I need more credentials. I need more self-esteem. I need to be more enough. I need to be more loved. I So we constantly put conditions interfering, staying between us and what we really want. And money, we associated with this big condition, thinking that if I have this in an unlimited amount, which might never seem enough anyway, then I can be happy. So this mechanism of conditioning, it's the I would say the biggest antidote to happiness. And we constantly condition ourselves. It's the Pavlovian conditioning with the dog and the food. And we learned in the ways of the world, we learned since we were little to place conditions with everything, with life. It's constantly if then, in order to, only if, only then. And this mechanism, it's a mechanism that makes us again chase something on one hand, but never quite get it. Right. So one way to free ourselves of this and actually finally be with what we want and be what we want, not only with what we want, but what we want, being that, is to start this process of unconditioning, dropping, instead of getting, dropping one condition after another, dropping. When I noticed that, okay, let's say this interview we are present here, it will be all right if I will. No, there is no if. It is what it is. And the more we drop everything else that stays in between, we create these gaps in between. And this gap, it's a void that will never be filled more and more. It's a sack without bottom, and it keeps growing. and it's asking for more and more and more, but we would never, it's designed in such a way that we would never get to the other side of the bridge, talking about crossing our bridges.
Yes, Sophia's site, crossingyourbridges.com.
Yes, yes,
Beautiful.
the name of my practice, and it's a metaphor. It's a metaphor of going from where we are right now, if we are not in the place that we want to be, having the courage, having the strength to step over that gap and get to the other side of the bridge that we created to actually be where we want to be in our life, whatever that would mean, to be there and not to get stuck, not to be in a place, whatever it is inside out, that it's not quite it. And another recent quote that I read and I love it. It said, and this is a little prayer for us now and for everyone. May we have the courage to live the life that we would love, that we'd be in love with. So instead of being displeased, oh, it's never like what life has to offer and what else and what else. It's again the mechanism itself. It sets us in the opposite direction, right? So instead of that, giving the chance, okay, what life that I would love living look like, and how do I feel about that, and how and ultimately it's an inner state. It's really I know it's a cliche by now saying that everything that we need, it's not outside, but it's actually very true, right? And when we cross that bridge, to really realize that, to get it that no, everything that I really need, I really want, it's not out there, it's not flying around me, and I have to constantly get it, but it's right here, it's truly right inside. So making that U-turn and pausing, instead of chasing, instead of seeking, pausing to being with what I want. And that includes our imagination, to allowing our imagination, instead of constantly seeking the solutions to what we think it's not right, it's not working, allowing our imagination to be put to a good use, where we envision what is it, what is the life that we would wake up in the morning and be so excited to live another day, where we would feel that yes, I feel that this day is like living heaven on earth. And this is possible. It's possible, but it's really important to, more than learning or seeking, it's actually unlearning what we learned, that it's getting us there to that promised land, and we never reach there, because again it's not out there, right? Making that U-turn. This is actually in religion, in the Bible, it's the parable of the prodigal son, right? It's such a beautiful, powerful metaphor, where we live everything, our kingdom that we are entitled to, in a way, it's ours, it was given to us. We leave it and say, no, I want to seek it, I want to find, I want to create it, and we leave behind, and then in the world we keep seeking and struggling, and we reach to that point where we are in a worse position than the pigs. We can so beautifully described in that parable, where even the pigs seem to have more than we do, and then we kind of hit the rock bottom and realize that, wow, what am I doing? What am I doing in this constant seeking and search outside, where I left the kingdom that was given to me fully, with everything that I need. I left it. And now, how would I dare to go back? How would I dare um, to make eye contact with my father and say, I wasted it all. I wasted. And this is actually, this is the original meaning of the word sin. The word sin, it's one word that was so, I guess, misinterpreted and changed in its meaning. But originally it meant to miss the target, to miss the whole point of life. So we keep shooting arrows, hoping to get in a certain way to happiness in this case, but we keep shooting somewhere else, right? And we miss the whole point. We miss the whole point in searching, chasing to money, to success, to that and that. And there is nothing wrong with them, by the way. There is nothing wrong. There are things in the world, there are conversions, there are tools we need to live in the world. There is nothing wrong. We don't need to feel guilty about
No,
this
of course
chase.
not.
It's
We
part
live
of
in
it.
a material world,
The world, exactly.
but let's not forget the spiritual, which is
Let's
maybe
Yes,
more
let's not
important.
miss the whole point. Because while we keep chasing our tail, one way or the other, our life it's passing. The hourglass is passing, and then we realize when quite late, we don't know how long we have this lease period. We are in this body, but we realize that, wow, those coins that again I have from Cuba, and they're there and they mean nothing right now because I can't do anything. At the end of the life, I have plenty of them, and I will go somewhere where they will be completely useless. They will mean nothing. And everything I've been chasing, it's just useless. That there is nothing, they have no power all of a sudden, and I cannot even take them with me. Right? So then we have to slowly wake up and to make sure that we don't miss the whole point of life.
They say at the end of the life, it doesn't matter what you did or what you had, but how much you loved.
Yes, yes, yes. And this is the whole point in life. And this is, I was saying that happiness is a consequence. Consequence of what? Well, first of all, of love. And love, the way we learned it, it was also a conditioning thing. I love you if
Yes.
for the way you make me feel about myself, if you fit my standards, if you fit my image that I created of yourself, if and then we use love just like money. We use them as a tool for trading, right? And we withdraw it, we give it. But it misses the whole point. It's not love, right? It's a market trading. The key in love is also the unconditional love. No condition.
This is true love,
This is
unconditional.
love.
I don't know how many people achieve
But this
that.
is the point
This is the
of life.
point, yes.
This is where we everything that we got into conditioning, the conditioning of the world in co-creation with co-working with the world, we start dropping. And and starting with us, actually, not even so much about others, but us, one by one, to drop every condition that I place between myself and my dreams, or between me and life, the life that I would love living. And when I notice, and we notice in our thinking, it's like, I will be all right if then, and all if thens, we drop them, we drop. And in this way, we switch, we change the relationship. We change the relationship with ourselves. We change the relationship with others. We change the relationship with money and all the conversion tools. And we change the relationship with life, and of course with our source of life.
Yes, very important. And we shouldn't expect other people to make us happy. Speaking of love, what you said before, we want other people to make us happy. Now, happiness is inside of us. It's there.
Yes, yes. It's another part of conditioning where we feel that love is out there. Somebody else has to make me happy or to love me. But again, it's just not the right mechanism. We learned it, we believe in it, but it's not the right. It's like um, expecting that if somebody else breathes for me, I can be alive, and only if somebody else takes another breath instead of me, then I can be alive. It's not the right mechanism, right? But breathing, it's in me, through me. I have everything to breathe, and when I'm breathing, the breath, the life flows through me. I'm alive. I engage with life. And eventually, I share the life that everybody is breathing for themselves, by themselves. And then we get aligned. Instead of using this not quite right mechanism, the opposite mechanism that get us in the opposite direction, then we align ourselves with the right mechanism. We align ourselves actually with truth. And I know this is another big word, just like happiness, but truth is we feel it that is just right. And when we are in just right, and everything is aligned, the mind, the body, the spirit, everything is aligned, is just right. And yes, the consequence, I'm happy. I'm happy right here, right now. No more conditions, no more if thens, no more in between, no more gaps. No, right now I drop everything. I dropped all the kingdom and speaking about the parable of the prodigal son and the unconditional love, that contains the twist. So when the son returns, he of course expects, like, how can I possibly return? I mean, I wasted all the treasure that I had, like feeling the shame, feeling the guilt, feeling that I'm not worthy. I cannot. And still he had the courage to make a U-turn. He made the right choice at that point, right? He could have not made the right choice and then go further into misery, but he had the courage to say, you know what, I will go back. And when he arrives home, expecting the worst reaction from it, because okay, it's like, oh, I've done so wrong, I sinned, right? The father, a joyful, ever so joyful celebration for having the son back. And no questions asked, and no blame, and no shame, and no, I've told you so. And nothing, no conditions whatsoever, nothing.
Just love.
Just love.
Sophia, everybody's heard of PTSD,
Hmm.
post-traumatic stress disorder. Uh, Positive psychology has another term that not many are familiar with, post-traumatic growth.
Yes.
How can overcoming trauma lead to new opportunities for people to have personal development and personal resilience, and oftentimes a deeper sense of purpose?
Mm. Yes. So one of my expertise is actually in trauma treatment, and I use this particular therapy, EMDR. I move on desensitization and reprocessing. That it's a trauma treatment, right? So trauma is very interesting, and it might be funny to say, but in a way, I love it because I feel that at the core of trauma lies our meaning in life, is our purpose. It's like I see trauma as a big pile of manure. I would never choose trauma. I would never, but at the same time, I've never met a person in my life, personally or professionally, that has not had his or her share of trauma, right? So the trauma is like the way I see it, it's a big pile of manure. In the middle of it, there is this diamond, there is this pearl. that if we have the courage to heal, to allow this cover of manure to be processed, to be metabolized, then we get to our gift in the middle of it. And that gift becomes truly part of us, of who we are, of our purpose in life, to of our function in life, right? Usually we are blocked. We stay in front of this pile of manure. We don't want to see it. We don't want to touch it. We don't want to smell it. It's like putting it under the cover. It's trying to do everything to avoid it because we naturally avoid pain, right? And trauma is connected to pain, right? So, and trauma, by the way, it's not defined by what happens to us, but by
How
the
we react.
impact that it has on us, by the level of pain that we personally experience in a very personal way, that it's connected to what happened, right? And that's why different people have very different reactions based on their own personal vulnerabilities.
This
Where
makes me, sorry to interrupt,
yeah,
this makes me think of that video of two people on a roller coaster. That's not traumatic, but it's just an example. Two people, the same situation, one is laughing, the other one is passing out,
suffering,
and
yes.
yeah, and see the same situation, same time, same place, two different people, two totally opposite reactions.
Yes, yes. And we have to respect that. There is no one right or wrong, better or worse reaction. It's a very personal reaction
Absolutely,
based on
yeah.
what is it in each of us at that moment that touches us. But I also, so trauma, of course, we never choose trauma. We would, it's not, it happens in the, I don't know, it's the great school of life in a way. And somehow everything that happens to us, it's part of that personalized curriculum, not for us here, but for our soul, right? So it's very hard to think that, oh, um, I choose bad things to happen. No, we don't choose them, but they happen as learning experiences, where if we embrace them, if we go through the process, and we are fully equipped to the process, we are fully equipped to heal. That saying that God never gives us more than we can handle, it's very true, because we have this self-healing system, just like we have the respiratory system, the circulatory system, the nervous system. We have this self-healing system. In EMDR terms, it's called the adaptive information processing system. And its function is to process, to metabolize, to digest the impact of what happens to us. So in the end, just like digestive process, we keep the good things in, the vitamins, the minerals, whatever we need that keeps giving us life, and we release. We flush down the toilet what the residual stuff, what we no longer need. But if we resist the healing of trauma, we get stuck, we get constipated. And that constipation over the years, it really blocks everything and then gets everything stuck. So, and then we don't even know why and why I feel this way, because we can't see the causes in the immediate time or vicinity, but they are in the past, right? And then we relive the past. So PTSD is the impact, the long-term impact, a negative impact of trauma. And this beautiful term that I love, the post-traumatic growth, is once we heal the trauma, we find it's we don't even find it, but it's coming, it's shining to us all of a sudden, that gift, that very personal, direct knowing of what is it that I need to take from this, why this happened to me, and the gift that I need to take. And it's part of me. It really shapes me. It shapes me into who I am. And it's through the direct experience. There is no more powerful experience than the trauma experience. It really gets through every part of us. And what we know out of it, it's not a knowing from books, from hearing, from podcasts, from reading. No, it's a direct knowing, lived experiences that shape me. It says, and I love this metaphor of us being like a piece of marble, raw marble, And the traumas are the sizzle in God's hands, polishing
Oh,
us,
how beautiful. How
turning us
beautiful.
into a piece of art. And that piece of art, that's the next step of happiness to is to be shared, to be expressed. Like if we have a piece of art created by God, Michelangelo, and then we hide it in a drawer in a corner of the wardrobe, it is so fine. But allowing us to be fully who we are, just the way we were created to be, from the source of life, by the source of life, and be the most of what we are. Just like, from a seed of a tree or a flower, that seed grows into that flower, and it's being the most of what it is, of what's meant to be. And that's happiness. Without chasing it, without seeking it. It's a consequence. Like when you are, imagine, let us imagine being the flower that we each are. And the life flows through the body of the flower. And it's said that light flows through all of us, but we each are a different lamp, a very unique lamp, a very unique flower. Even flowers of the same kind, they're very unique. And we each are that very unique. And the life flows to us, and the light flows to us. And it's what greater joy. And
My
it is
goodness, I feel your energy.
and there's no condition to that. The flower, the tree puts no condition. I will bloom only if the wind is right, only if the rain is in my own terms, only if, no, there is no only, there is no then, there is, there is a constant easiness, of constant beingness. And in the happiness, there is actually that this developmental stages in our personal growth where to reach happiness is actually the initial stage. Imagine we are little kids, is the stage of getting. I need to have, I need to get. And I feel that everything for my well being, for me to be pleased, for me to be joyful, for me to be happy, for me to be all right, for me to be enough, I need to get it more and more and more and more. So this is the first stage, is the caterpillar stage. In the metamorphosis of the caterpillar turning into a butterfly, this creature, the crawling, constantly eating creature, transforming ultimately from a crawling creature into a flying creature. Right? So initially it's getting. And then the next stage, very interesting, which is very empowering, is the stage of doing. It's like, okay, let me pull out my sleeves and do what do I need to do? Not only what I need to get, what do I need to do? Tell me the solutions, tell me the formulas, tell me, and reading everything and listening to all the podcasts and everything. What do I need? Tell me what do I need to do to be all right, to be happy? And we look for solutions. And this is very empowering because we move from the victim's position where I need to get and I'm helpless and I never have what I want. I never get what I want. I'm never being what I want. It's I'm empowering. I'm using my talents from the Bible. I'm using my strength. I make the leap. I make the step and step into action into and this is the parable in the Bible of the talents, right? I have the coins, I have the gifts that I was given. How can I multiply them? How can I use them to the fullest so I create the life that I want? And it's very empowering, but it's not the last stage. It still brings more happiness into it, but the last stage that brings 100% happiness is the stage of being, is the stage of I am that I am. I am as I was created to be. And I'm not only enough, but I'm all, all that I need to be. It's true. And everything is just.
We usually come to this stage in our later years. to this
Whatever
realization, to this realization.
Sometimes it's not necessarily we wish time would just heal or move us through the stages. Eventually, actually does. If we look into eternity, I think it does, but it's a much longer time frame. But we we need to do our part, and our only part, actually, our only power, truly, is is our choice, is the free will that was given to us. So we need to have our part in choosing what's just right. And I constantly choose, and I feel sometimes that, oh, if I chose that, this is my only choice, and I can never change it. No, we have this power, we have this free will, this power of choice constantly, every minute, every minute. If I chose differently and I miss the whole point, I miss the target, I can choose again and again and again and again and again, just like a child learning how to walk. I'm falling, I'm trying again and again and again and again. And I'm not getting stuck on the floor and being resentful. Why did I fall again? And I will never get there, and I can never walk, and I can never dance. No, there is that lightness. Lightness. And part of happiness again is lightening up. Imagine again the, in a way, the heaviness of the crawling caterpillar. Nothing wrong with a crawling caterpillar because it's a stage. It's what it needs to be, right? But not getting stuck, not dying as a caterpillar if you're meant to be a butterfly. Right? And so allowing the process by itself, not interfering, not staying in its way, but going along with it and choosing it. Yes, I choose happiness. I choose. There is, in the Course of Miracles, there is this beautiful lesson. I choose peace instead of all of this.
Are you a student of the Course in Miracles? I didn't know that. I
I
should have known.
something that
Wow.
yeah, it's of course in my personal growth. I everything, every door that comes my way, in my personal curriculum of life, for my soul, I say yes to it. It's given. It's at the right time. Everything, whether if it's through trauma or learning or any kind of learning, experiential learning, theoretical learning, everything. So the Course in Miracles is part of it. And it has a very significant purpose. Yes.
Yes, I agree. I agree. Um, Happiness is a skill. It can be learned. I think
Hmm.
it should be taught in school as the most important subject matter. Students today sadly live in the age of depression and anxiety. You know, I saw a graphic t-shirt that read, if you're happy and you know it,
Clap your hands.
it's your meds.
It's your.
Meds.
Oh my
So
goodness.
this is so funny and so
Oh.
sad at the same time.
Mm.
So students today feel that heaviness on their shoulders. Sometimes it's as big as a skyscraper made of textbooks. University students, especially, I would say. uh,
Mm.
how can positive psychology be applied in educational settings to help students with their mental health?
Mm.
You work with students
Yes,
mostly.
for almost 20 years,
Yes.
I worked with college and university students. Yes. So I will, before getting to this part, I want to go back a little bit to what you initially said, that life, happiness is a skill. I don't know the right answer, but I wouldn't phrase it that way. I wouldn't personally. And it's a personal view, right?
Yes,
It's
yes,
not the right or
yes.
wrong view. It's just one angle of the truth, right? So I don't see it as a skill. Why? Because when we see it as a skill, it's another tool that we can manipulate. It's like, okay, tell me what I need to do, give me the formula, and I will use this to be happy.
I'm saying it's a skill, Sophia, just because some people uh, never seem to be happy.
Yes,
It's
it's an
very, it's
attitude.
very,
It's
okay,
an
it's very
attitude.
hard for them to be happy. Whereas others, are happy for no reason. They just are.
Yes, and we go back to it. So yeah, I wouldn't say skill per se, because again, skill is like I'm learning this and I expect it to be
Okay.
to give me happiness, and why it's not. And then so it's a rather a tool of manipulation in a way that it could be, but so we don't get caught up in wording. But I see it as a choice. uh, and it's, yeah, in that way it could be a learned choice. I choose to be happy, I choose to be pleased easily, I choose my state right now. It's a choice. And actually, by practicing this choice repeatedly for a long enough time, it
You
becomes
get
a skill.
better. Yeah.
It becomes a second nature, right? Versus I choose to be unhappy because, and that's a choice that we can make for a variety of reasons and get trapped in it, right? And then it's reinforced collectively, and there is sometimes a culture of being displeased, being unhappy. Sometimes it goes even with lots of abundance material, like we live in a society, at least here, where the basic needs are quite covered, and we don't. And then again, this consumerism attitude where it's never, and everything is fast, and the internet, and then the browsing constantly, like what else, what else, what else, and nothing quite pleases me, nothing, versus again stopping seeking and dropping happiness, dropping into happiness, dropping into it. So a culture, it's a culture sometimes of unhappiness, it's a culture. And there is and it's reinforced in a way, it's reinforced through media, it's reinforced collectively. For students it's also related to very high pressures, right? The pressure, the conditioning, like you will succeed in life, you are good enough, you will only if, only if, and that only if it's never enough, and they internalize those pressures, and then they feel trapped. Right? So, and whether you are a student in school or a student of life, the mechanisms are quite the same, where we ultimately need to unlearn, to drop all those conditions, all those pressures, everything that stays between us and feeling free, feeling that, again, that I amness, that I am what I am. It's not only enough, it's not only tremendously worth it, but it's all all that I can be, all that I need to be. So it's not just in school, it's not only for students, but it's our humanness, our human nature, that all of this are manifested, whether in school, whether in our workplace, whether again in life in different circumstances, but the mechanisms are the same. And again, one thing that I would say to undo this, it's actually this process of unlearning, unconditioning, because all of these are learned in cooperation with the world, are learned from the world. We aren't born with them, but we learn them in the way of the interaction. What do I need to be enough? What do I need? What? And there is more and more and more and more success and more money and more results and more academics and better grades and that. And again, it's the never enough once again, that we are trapped and we think there is no exit. But there is an exit. We just step. It's like, I'm out of here. I'm dropping this. I'm out of here. I'm back. I'm making that U-turn to see, okay, what's my truth? What is it? Right? So living in my truth, in my being of what I am. So yeah, with students, it's another stage that it's very activated. All of these pressures are very activated, and the mechanisms, the solutions are still the same for all of us. Again, whether we are students in school or students in life.
Can we rewire our brain for happiness?
Absolutely, absolutely. And one simple, very simple neuroscience shows this. It's so beautiful. We can see the brain, we can see our emotions, everything in the brain. It's fascinating. One simple exercise, actually, it's the one proposed by Martin Seligman that I mentioned with the happiness studies. And there is this very simple exercise of gratitude. So every evening at bedtime, you have a little notebook and we write in there three things, three simple, basic things that from that day we were, instead of being displeased with, we are pleased with, being learning to be easily pleased by life, by each day, by each moment. So writing, hunting down during the day three things that they were all right during the day instead of not all right or not quite the way we expected one. What was right during the day? Writing those things down. And if we are consistent, usually they say that it takes 21 days to build a habit. But this research is showing this particular case with rewiring the brain, actually, if we do this little exercise for 6 months every evening, then we really literally physically change, rewire our brain from displeasing unhappiness into the happiness mode of operating, and then it's becoming easier and easier. It's like, yeah, I see what's around me and I enjoy, and I notice it first of all, rather than being constantly in my mind and my stories and what preoccupies. And it's this separate world that I feel it's real, but it's not, because I'm removed from what is as is. And this is the definition of reality. Reality is what is as is now, right here, right now. Everything else, it's a mind production. Whether about the past or what could happen in the future, it's a story. And sometimes it's a nightmare story, it's a terror story that we repeat in our mind, and then we feel it's reality, but it's not reality, it's perception, right? So dropping those stories once again and coming right here, right now, and being just like when we are in love, we are being
Yeah.
in love. We are not thinking in love, we are not making stories of love, we are being in love with
You
life.
you make me think of the Stoics concept of amor fati, love life as it is.
Mm. Beautiful,
Yes.
beautiful. Yes,
Um,
yes. Taking life in life's terms rather than creating this never-ending contracts that we expect life to sign to adhere to our terms. It's like, you're supposed to be that and that and that and that, and I keep writing, and in the meantime, again, the hourglass is passing, and I'm not being with life.
yeah.
I'm being with my creation, my imagination of what life's supposed to be.
Robert Holden, I'm sure you've heard of him, psychologist, author, broadcaster. He has a PhD in happiness. He
Oh,
meets with the Dalai Lama one day and asks him, what's the secret to, what's the key to health and happiness? And the Dalai Lama replies, empty your bowl of yesterday's rice. Empty your bowl of yesterday's rice,
beautiful,
which
beautiful.
means, which is the past, right?
Yes,
Forgive,
yes, yes.
live in the moment.
And this is another. I would love us to have another full discussion on this, because it's quite. But it's very true on a very practical level, actually. Aside from the gratitude exercise that I would suggest everyone to take this challenge for 6 months, um, and have I call it for us, for me and my family, I call it the joy journal. Since the kids were little, we had our little joy journals, and we weren't consistent. And I noticed that when the pages that were left empty, now looking back, it feels like life didn't happen in those days, like empty. It's like, what is it? But versus what I wrote in there and what the kids wrote when they were little, it's so precious. It's like, having the chance to live that again. So having that challenge for once to, and when we are not consistent, to start again. It's like if I got to day 10 and I've been consistent in writing in the joy journal, if I interrupted, then I start the counting once again until I reach 6 months. The other, so this I strongly encourage. We can have all a collective challenge for the gratitude
Let's do that.
exercise. And the other one that I would suggest on a very practical level, what you said about emptying our bowl. We are usually focused very much on beginnings, on the beginning of the day, the beginning, a new beginning, the new year resolution, and then we lose ourselves throughout the process. But an equally important process is the end of the day. So not only starting the day well, but making sure that actually we end the day. So this gratitude practice actually it's good to be done at the end of the day, and also making sure that when we go to bed, um, before falling asleep, not only seeing what was right during the day, but if there is something that wasn't quite all right, to have this practice in our mind of rewriting that script with how that could have been right. What would I have done differently? If I'm not, again, it's a learning process. It's like learning to shoot the arrow straight, right? And if it wasn't quite the way I wanted, imagining the movie of what would I have chosen differently with what I see now, and then closing that day, making sure that we close the day, because otherwise, again, we carry over a lot, and the lot, it's building up to the next day. We carry it, and it's filling our heart, right? It's filling everything, and there is no space for life to flow through us. So it's important not only to start the day well, but to have this personal little ritual, if you want, where we consciously end the day. And it's seeing what's right, the three little things during the day, and also what would I like to choose differently. So again, the power of choice, and making that when we write, that's when we actually learn, rather than going to the next day with the problems. And also the night, overnight, we let our brain work overnight, and then we have difficulty sleeping, and we never shut down our mental computer, and then we wake up exhausted in the morning. But making sure we turn off the computer properly, we take our goodies, the things that we are joyful or happy or pleased with during the day, and we take our learning as well. What would I choose differently now when I look back at this day?
It's so important to think positive, right? It influences the way we feel. And I want to show something to everybody.
Yes.
Listening to you, it's so true what you said. I want to show to everybody something that I learned from a book. It's Pam Grout's book called E Squared, 9 do-it-yourself energy experiments that prove that your thoughts create your reality. So I have here 2 pieces of wire, 12 inches, 5 inches. I cut a straw in half. I'm going to use it like this. Oops. See, we are energy. Of course, everybody thinks we are matter, but we are not. We are all energy. And I don't know if I can show this. Let me, it's all good. See, I'm holding it at the level of my heart chakra, and it's moving. The ones are moving because my energy is dancing. Okay, I am trying to stabilize it. I think it's pretty good right now. And I'm going to think of something that brings me happiness, great joy. Whoa, see how much it expanded? It touched my arms. I thought of you, Sophia.
Oh,
You bring me so much joy. really. And now, again, I'm going to think of something that brings me stress. Whoa, so fast.
Wow.
That's because my emotions are very intense. I am a master visualizer, so to me it's very easy to to feel. I want to be happy again. I don't want to. Oops. See?
So you're choosing right
Oh
away.
yes,
Choice
I
is
always choose.
reflected.
Yes.
Yes.
So I recommend this book. Again, E squared. The author is Pam Grout. Um, what we want is for our energy to expand.
Yes.
When we are happy, the energy expands and is the aura, the electromagnetic field that surrounds our body expands, come closer, and is brighter. So this is the goal. If we keep thinking of unpleasant things, something that happened during the day or yesterday or a year ago or 10 years ago, it happens to me. This is what happens to our body. We can even influence the chemistry of our blood. So positivity is so important. And see, it's so easy. I just thought of something that makes me happy.
Beautiful. Wow. And this, again, this direct feedback, complete feedback, it's so powerful and
Powerful.
convincing because we can see it's not just in our mind or
It's not
the
just
unseen.
words.
Exactly. It's like, whoa, this is what's physically happening and they are
Yeah.
connected to one another. And yes, we can choose. It is a choice. Above all, I think it's a constant moment to moment choice, the happiness or the well-being. And I remember recently we met a couple on our wedding anniversary, and they also had their wedding anniversary, and they had 39 years. And it was such a powerful conversation, strangers initially, but then it was amazing. And one thing that they shared about their secret of the happy marriage after 39 years. And the husband said, you know what, we made a vow, we made this choice of choosing to be better instead of bitter.
Oh, I love it.
I love it. It's so simple. And yes, choosing constantly, I choose better instead of bitter. And I think this is a wonderful way where
Oh, yes.
we can end our dialogue today, so we don't bore our
The last question.
listening.
The
Yes.
last question.
Okay.
If happiness had a mascot, what would it be and why?
You know what? What the image that came right away? I think it's a butterfly. A butterfly, because it comprises everything, the metamorphosis, the transformation. It comprises the PTSD and post-traumatic growth, the whole journey. It's not even only positive or negative. It's all together, and allowing that process to unfold as it's meant to. Every part of it has its meaning and its just.
Beautiful.
What about for you?
Oh, for me, it's a little strange.
Yes.
For me, it would be an umbrella that's open upside down. It's pink with white polka dots, just to catch falling angel feathers from the sky.
Wow, beautiful, beautiful, Danuta. And it's the key in this, the way I see it, and this is key to happiness. This is key to love. If I were to give a definition of love, actually, what a synonym for love, to me, love is openness. How much we love is how open we allow ourselves to be, our heart to be. And that requires to be safe enough, to feel safe enough, to trust, to be more and more and more and more and more of me with the other. So love is openness, and you're open, the upside down umbrella. That's love. That's openness for everything to be shared, to be with.
It would be interesting to see what other people
Yes,
choose as
that's
a mascot.
a
And then
wonderful
we'll make a booklet.
conversation.
We'll
Yes,
make a booklet with
yes.
mascots for
With
happiness.
mascots for happiness. So we invite everyone to allow their creativity, their imagination. But to be like the image, for me, the image of the
That first,
butterfly exactly
yeah,
came
the first
right
thing that
away,
people
and for you
see.
as well. So it's not making it, manufacturing it, but rather seeing it. It's opening
Yes,
up.
yes. I'm sure everybody feels more empowered after listening to you, Sophia.
Oh,
And you
thank
even
you.
bear the name of the goddess of wisdom. So,
That was
how
my
suitable.
mom's wish, and many
How
people are
suitable.
talking about my name. They think because I am Romanian, and in Romania, Sophia is with F, and actually, it's in my birth certificate. It was with PH. My
PhD.
mom had high hopes for me, and yes, for the longest time I treasured wisdom, the meaning of Sophia, but also Sophia, Saint Sophia, has the three daughters, the hope, uh,
Faith.
the hope, the faith, and love.
Yes.
Okay, so those three: wisdom, hope, faith, and above all, wisdom is actually love as well. Wisdom is not just knowing; it's knowing your love, right? So above all, it's the love, as St. Paul said it in the Corinthians letters. So
Thank you so much,
we can
Sophia.
talk forever.
We planned a short interview. We
20
said 20 minutes. I don't know how long it's been, but I could listen to you all day, all week.
Oh,
And
so
I'm sure everybody will exercise their happiness muscle more after listening to you.
we hope so, and then come together in this shared space. Because when everybody is okay, we use this term happiness, but when everybody is being what is for this shared space, unconditional,
Conditional.
no conditions, no ifs, no thens, no conversion, no marketplace, no, everything is dropped, and
And just
together.
just
Together.
appreciating the blessing of now.
Yes,
Yes.
yes, together. So
Yes.
thank you all for being with us this morning today. And yeah, we hope to have this more conversations, not only once every 9 years, but stay
For
calm.
sure.
We are open. So
Okay.
thank you,
Thank you,
Danuta.
Sophia. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
everyone.
everyone.